What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Weapon Collective. We're back in the Gat Cave today, and I'm gonna just jump right into this, get to the point, because I don't want this to be a terribly long video. I have quite a few guns that we're gonna go through today, and we're gonna be discussing a topic that some of you, most of you may be very familiar with, and others maybe not so much. But we're talking about the AR-15 platform and corresponding barrel length. What that means, what the legalities surrounding that, what is the effective range and velocities that you get with those. Just preferences. Like, I'm a kind of guy, I prefer 12.5 to 10.3. I like that because that's the kind of shooting that I do most often. But I can appreciate all the barrel lengths. I thought we'd just go through, look at different examples of barrel length on AR-15 platform guns and talk about it. So without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, so if we're talking the 5.56-223 round, the barrel length that was originally designed to go with that round is going to be a 20-inch barrel, which you don't see 20-inch barrels all that often anymore, but it is the most effective barrel length for the round. And at 20 inches, you're getting like 3,100 feet per second and have a effective range of about 700 to 800 yards. So this gun here, this is a Colt. This is a re-release, and this is the Colt AR15 XM16 E1. So this is a very cool gun, cool look back at history. This is the OG. This is the original gun. Just a side note here, for anybody that doesn't know, most of you I'm sure do, but the AR in AR-15 absolutely never has, never will stand for assault rifle. The designation of AR-15 comes from the company that designed it, Armalite. So it's Armalite rifle, and it was the 15th rifle that Armalite had designed. Therefore, you get the AR-15. Just a little side note. Eugene Stoner was working at Armalite back in the 50s when they designed this gun. And then they eventually sold it to Colt, who designed this for the US military. This is the XM16 E1. This is a semi-automatic rifle. But when it was adopted by the Army, became the M16A1. This gun is a very cool look back at that time and where our modern interpretation of the gun has come from. Now, this is super cool, but I am very thankful for all the modernization, modularity that the current AR-15 platform gives us. With something like this, you're limited in what you can do as far as accessories go. You know, you could put a bayonet on here, and that is about it. You do have one little hole on the carry handle that you could put on some sort of optic, but you are very limited. Like I said, you got a fixed buttstock, triangular handguard, and you just can't do a whole lot with this. It is very light, which is nice. Very much appreciate what the AR-15 has become, and you will see in subsequent guns. But this thing, tons of respect out to this guy, because this, like I said, is the OG. This is the Colt AR-15 XM16 E1. And then moving down from there, we're going to go from 20-inch barrel to an 18-inch barrel. And this is my kind of Mark 12 clone, my interpretation of a Mark 12 anyway. This is my Neski In4. It's an SPR, and this thing is sweet. So with 18-inch barrel, you are getting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3,000 feet per second and have an effective range of about 600 to 650 yards. Let's go through how I have this thing set up. So out front, we've got the Dead Air Nomad. This is a 30 cal can on here, but it sounds fantastic. And this is a heavy gun. I'm not worried about it because if I'm shooting this, I'm typically shooting it out of the prone position. So like I said, Dead Air Nomad, and that is on a Dead Air Chemo flash hider, a Surefire Scout Light, and that is activated with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I did just get this AccuTac bipod, and this thing is beefy. I dig this bipod. From there, we've got the emissary cable clip. The center point of the gun is going to be this Vortex Razor, and this is a 4.5 to 27, and this thing is awesome. I really, really like this glass. It is a sweet scope. It is in a Unity scope mount. I do have Magpul pop-up iron sights on here. Other than that, it's basically how it came. Came with the Magpul buttstock B5 pistol grip. And that is about it for this guy. But like I said, this is a fun gun. I really, really like this. I love Neski. They're one of my favorites. I haven't done a Neski video yet. That will be coming down the pike soon enough. This is the 18-inch barrel Neski In4 SPR. It's basically my Mark 12 clone. Okay, next we are looking at a 16-inch barrel, and I just grabbed this gun. I just did a video on this X2 Dev Group ARX light fighter. And like I said, I just did a video on this, so if you want to see all the details on this, go check out my prior video, and I really dig into this gun. 16-inch barrel is basically the standard length for a rifle these days. That somewhat has to do with ballistics, but I believe that it mainly has to do with legality surrounding that the ATF has determined that to be a rifle, meaning you have a buttstock, that anything less than a 16-inch barrel becomes a short-barreled rifle and applicable to the NFA, and you have to get a tax stamp and wait for approval and all that bullshit. So 16-inch, you're getting about 2,800 feet per second and a maximum effective range of about 500 yards. So this is the X2 Dev Group ARX light fighter. Okay, so the 16-inch barrel, we're dropping from that down to a 14.5. And there is one little caveat to the legality of the 16-inch barrel, and that would be something like this, which this is a legal rifle, but it is 14.5 inches. And the way that that happens is you do something called pin and welding. So you can have a 14.5-inch barrel, and then you take a muzzle device that's 1.5 inches long, and you pin and weld that, permanently affixing it to the barrel. And then if you do that, that will technically count as barrel. So you're over that 16-inch mark, but you have an overall length reduction. So that is one little caveat to the 16-inch rule. This is the Agency Arms classified rifle in 14.5. This is a cool gun. I love Agency. If you haven't seen my Agency video, go check that out. I'm an Agency nut, but I digress. This is a cool gun, and let's go through it. Out front, I got a Huxworks. This is the QD556K, and that is on a Huxworks 556 flash hider. And then I have a Mod Light PLH V2 18350 that I'm activating with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I got a BCM vertical grip, and just a side note on the vertical grips, another legality. So if you have a gun that is under that 16, that doesn't technically qualify as a rifle, the ATF has also determined that you are not allowed to run a vertical grip. It's one of their rules. So this qualifies as a rifle, but if you had a 10.5-inch barrel on an AR pistol, you are not legally allowed to run a vertical grip. They say it's because that means that it's a pistol, and a vertical grip would mean that you are using 2 hands to fire the weapon. I fire all my pistols with 2 hands, so it makes no sense. But anyhow, moving back, one of the really cool things on this gun is gonna be the gas block. And this is a rifle speed 12 position adjustable gas block that you can change right here. Little dial that you can turn and adjust your gas flow, which is really cool because all the adjustables before this, you needed a long Allen wrench that you could stick down there, the superlative arms adjustables. Stick that Allen wrench all the way down, especially when you have hot hot suppressors that you're dealing with, trying to adjust that gas block. Adjustable gas blocks may or may not be for you, but the practicality of this is awesome. And moving back from there, this guy is a Night Force Attacker 1-10, an amazing optic. And that is in a ScalarWorks Leap mount, and that is at a 1.57 inch height. This is Agency's own charging handle. This is their gas crack charging handle. Very cool. We got B5 furniture, buttstock and pistol grip. This is the 14.5 inch Agency Arms classified rifle. Okay, so this next gun is a similar, it's close in barrel length to that 14.5, and that is gonna be the 13.7 inch. And this is important because the 13.7 is basically the absolute cutoff that you can still pin and weld a muzzle device and meet that 16-inch overall threshold. So this is technically still a rifle with that pin and welded muzzle device. So you'll see a lot of 13.7, 13.9 inch guns out there, and that's just depending on the muzzle device they're using to meet that threshold of 16 inches. But this is basically, you can't go much shorter than that. And this bad boy is the Sons of Liberty Gunworks collaboration with Veil Solutions, and this is the Tomahawk. This is an absolutely beautiful gun. The color scheme on this is just so sexy. This is one of my favorite looking guns. The ballistics on this at 13.7, which I realize I forgot to mention this on the 14.5. So the 14.5, you're gonna be kind of the high 2,900 feet per second and the effective range of around 400 yards. You get to 13.7 and you're hitting the low end of the 2,900s. You're getting like 300 yards of effective range. I mean, these are all estimates. I haven't gone out personally and gathered all this data. This stuff I've pulled from the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But it's fairly close. And like I said, this is the Sons of Liberty Gunworks Veil Solutions collaboration, the Tomahawk. And let's go through how I have it set up. So out front, I got a Dead Air Sandman S, and that is gonna be on a Dead Air flash hider, chemo flash hider, Modlite PLH V2 18350 with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I do have the ScalarWorks pop-up peak iron sights, which I've talked about in prior videos. I really like these things. Their fixed peak iron sights are amazing as well. This is an Aimpoint Comp M5, and that is on a ScalarWorks Leap mount at 1.43 inches. It's got the Sons of Liberty branded Radian Raptor charging handle, the B5 furniture, and then this is an Irregular Defense cheek riser. And everything on this gun is just awesome. Oh, this is a Rail Scales anchor, which these are, I'm digging these. These are new to my world, and I'm really liking these. Sons of Liberty does some amazing little special edition stuff, and this is one of them that is absolutely fantastic looking. Love it. Sons of Liberty does lifetime warranties on their barrels. Awesome company. I love Sons of Liberty. If you don't know about Sons of Liberty, check them out. They make some badass stuff. This is the Sons of Liberty and Veil Solutions collaboration with the Tomahawk at 13.7 inches. Okay, we have officially crossed out of rifle territory into AR pistol territory. For those of you that don't know, what does that mean? Anything under a 16-inch overall length barrel is technically a short-barreled rifle and therefore applicable to the National Firearms Act. But there is an end around which you can have an AR pistol, which can be any barrel length, and meaning you don't have a buttstock on the gun. So you get down to a 12.5 inch gun like we have here with this Sons of Liberty Sage Dynamic collaboration, and this is a 12.5 inch AR pistol. This thing is such a badass little gun. Another Sons of Liberty, they nailed it again. So this is a 12.5 inch barrel, and this is kind of my favorite, from 12.5 down to about a 10.3 inch. That's the type of shooting that I do most often. And you're gonna be about 2,800 feet per second, 2,750 around there, and effective range of like 200, 250 yards. I'm usually on a flat range shooting much shorter distances, 100 and under. This is such a sweet gun, very maneuverable and fun. Obviously, the shorter you go, the louder they get. So I only run these things suppressed. This is a sweet little gun, and let's go through it. This is the Dead Air Sandman K, and that is gonna be on a Dead Air Chemo flash hider. And I've got this is a Surefire Scout Light, and I'm operating that with the SR07 pressure pad once again. And then these are those ScalarWorks fixed iron sights, the Peak iron sights from ScalarWorks, but fixed. This is an EXPS3 from EOTech, Sage Dynamics branded Radian Raptor charging handle of SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace. B5 pistol grip, got rail scales on here, rail scales hand stop, Magpul bad lever. This is not an ambi gun. I have an emotional attachment to this gun. This is, when I got into guns, this was like the first gun that I had to hunt for. Could not find it, and it was really difficult to find, and was so stoked when I finally got it. Love this thing. This is the Sons of Liberty Gunworks collaboration with Sage Dynamics 12.5-inch barrel. I love this next gun, 11.5-inch, and this is gonna be the Sig Sauer MCX Spear LT. What a cool gun, what a good looking gun, and just Sig is really making some cool stuff right now. So let's go through how I have this set up. Out front, I've got this is a Sig Sauer suppressor. This is the SRD 556QD. And one little side note, this is like the generation before their current suppressors, and it was compatible with a different muzzle device. So this gun shipped with the muzzle device compatible with their current suppressor line. And I will tell you, it was damn near impossible to get that muzzle device off so I could run this can. I tried everything except sending it back to Sig. I did not want to do that. I took the route of dremeling that muzzle device off. It was impossible. That rock set or concrete that they put it on with is crazy. Let me know anyone else out there that has had a similar experience, because it was nuts. But I digress once again, and let's go through it. So that's the Sig SRD 556QD suppressor. I have a Modlite PLH V2 18350. Operating that with, of course, the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. Then this is the MHS hand stop from Irregular Defense. I'm really, really liking these. These are a great little hand stop. Irregular Defense is amazing. I do have this sling strap. It's a Sentry strap. It's magnetic. Put your sling in there and you just pull it and it just pops out. It's nice. And just a side note too, I do have slings on these guns. I just take them off to shoot the videos. This is the one kind of pistol that I'm running an LPVO on. And this is such a good looking optic. This is the Night Force Attacker 1-10. And this is in the ScalarWorks Leap mount. And this is a 193 in optic height. And I am running the ScalarWorks Kick 45 degree, and I got a Holosun 507C red dot that I'm running. Very cool. The Kick is a nice little offset system. This one is fully ambi, but I do kind of have to shift my shooting grip, but it's acceptable. Everything else, Sig pistol grip, SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace, and this is obviously a piston gun, a short stroke piston. So you can collapse the stock and it still runs in this collapsed position. Very cool little small package. And Sig, like I said, they're just cranking out stuff right and left, and it is awesome. 11.5 inches, you're gonna be getting like 2,500 feet per second and about 200 200 yards effective range, somewhere 250. I'm gonna have to make a video where I actually go out and chrono all these things and confirm this data, because like I said, I just pulled this off the internet. This is a very cool gun, the Sig MCX Spear LT 11.5-inch barrel. Okay, so now we're at the 10.5-inch point, and this is important for me just because this is my like main go-to gun. This is my go-to rifle for sure. Gets 99% of all the love right here. And I try to squeeze all these other guns in that other 1%, maybe realistically 5%, but I shoot this thing the most. And if you remember back to that very first gun, that AR15 XM16 E1, this is the modern interpretation of that. So here we have a Colt M16, and I have adapted it. Basically, I bought the gun because this thing is full auto, so it's a machine gun, and that's why it's not an SBR, because if you have a machine gun, that is tops everything. You don't have to SBR it, it's just a machine gun. Basically, the same lower as that first gun I showed you. I just took everything else and modernized it. It's a Colt M16 lower, and then this is all Type A upper. I really dig Type A rifles. They make some badass stuff. So M16 lower, Type A upper. If you don't know, the serialized part is the lower, and you can put any upper on any lower and run it however. So if you have an SBR lower, you could run rifle length barrels and then swap out different upper down to whatever barrel length. Doesn't matter. But this is my go-to gun. I love this thing. It is so much fun. Even though I don't run it full auto very often. It's just my go-to. Let's see how I have it set up. Out front, I have the Huxworks QD556K, and that's on the Huxworks QD556 flash hider. And then I've got the Modlite PLHV2 18350, and I have a 100 Concepts flashlight cap on there, so you don't have any negligent white light discharge. I'm running that on a Unity TAPS TVC, because this one I am running a laser, so light, laser. And this is a Wilcox Radex and a Aimpoint Comp M5, and those are both on a GBRS Group Hydra. And then this is a Troy vertical grip and Magpul bad lever, and then the B5 buttstock and the Irregular Defense cheek riser. This, I'm really digging this Emissary Development pistol grip. I'm always trying to find the right pistol grip, and I ran B5 for a long time, and then I started experimenting with different ones, the Irregular Defense and the Kung Fu grip, and this is very comfortable, very nice. I like it a lot. And that is it. Like I said, this is my go-to, although it's short, 10.5, so you're getting like, you know, high 2,500 feet per second, 2,600 feet per second, and you're 125, 225 effective range. This is not my long range gun, so this is my cruising around the flat range, CQB-ish type stuff. Very fun. I love this gun, and that is the Colt M16 in 10.5-inch barrel. This next gun is very, very close. I just selected it because you can go from a 10.5 like I just showed you to a 10.3, and this is the Daniel Defense Mark 18, and this is just kind of a classic gun, so I figured I'd show a Mark 18 in here because this is a very cool little piece of weaponry. Mark 18, go read up on it. Very cool gun with a great military career. It's a little heavy. It's got this Daniel Defense RIS-2 quad rail on it, so it gets a little bulky, a little heavy. My M16, the 10.5-inch, that has a quad rail, but it's lighter in this. And let's go through how I have it set up. So this is the Surefire SOCOM 556 Mini. This is their K-Can. Modlite PLHV2 18350, and I am using a Unity Axon button for that. Then moving back, we have an EOTech EXPS3 on a Unity Fast Riser, and then an EOTech G33 magnifier on the Unity Flip to Center mount. There's a Daniel Defense charging handle. I've got the Magpul bad lever, of course, and then Daniel Defense pistol grip, SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace, and this one has the law folder. So you can get this thing down to a little itty bitty package, although it is not fireable in this position. But this is the Daniel Defense, and this thing, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be the same as a 10.5. Close enough ballistically. So you're like 2,600 feet per second and 125, 200 yards. This is the Daniel Defense Mark 18. Okay, now we're moving down to the 9-inch point, and this gun is awesome. Since I can't have a HKG36, the next best thing is to get the TommyBuilt TG36. This thing is such a badass little gun. This is a 9-inch barrel, and for those that are not familiar with TommyBuilt, TommyBuilt is a company that takes HK SL8 and modifies it to be a clone of the HKG36, and that is such a cool gun. You can see charging handle in here and folds. Can fold out this way, so ambi charging, and what a freaking cool little gun. Piston gun. It does have a collapsible, foldable stock, and these things are just so sweet. He does such an amazing work on polymer. It's crazy. So if you don't know, look into TommyBuilt, because they make some amazing stuff. TommyBuilt makes it possible for people that don't have an FFL SOT to have a gun like this. Is basically a semi-automatic G36. A 9-inch barrel, you're getting about 2,400 feet per second, and you're gonna be 150, 175 yards. This has a Dead Air Sandman K, and then a Modlite PLH V2 18350, and I've got the Modlite mod button. It's got Troy pop-up iron sights, front and rear. And then I'm running an Aimpoint Micro T2 on a ScalarWorks Leap mount. It's a 193. And then this is the Aimpoint 3X magnifier on the ScalarWorks Leap magnifier mount. Then that's really it. They do have proprietary mags for this, which is kind of a bummer, but when you're getting into this, it's really who cares. As long as I can get my hands on one of these, I'll take whatever mags it's running. But this is the TommyBuilt TG36 in a 9-inch barrel. Okay, and now we're going down to a 7.5-inch barrel. We're almost done, but we're getting down to the shorties, and this is still a 5.56 gun. This is the Robinson Armament XRL in a 7.5-inch barrel. We're also kind of diverting from the AR15 platform here. Well, technically at that TommyBuilt, but Robinson Armament, local Salt Lake company making bad-ass guns. These things are sweet. And I will tell you, this thing, accurate as all hell. I've had nothing but amazing accuracy with it. I mean, short distance, obviously, but just groups, super tight little groups with this guy. So it is a side charging handle here. Very cool. Does have this folding stock on it, so gets very small. Take that suppressor off and it's quite a small little package. I put this suppressor on it, and went out, and then I read after the fact that they do not recommend running their 7.5-inch barrels suppressed because the majority of all that powder is burning in the suppressor. So not too good for your can. I left it on here because it looks cool, but I did order an XCR with a 12.5-inch barrel. So that should be arriving very soon because I really, really love this gun, but I want to run it suppressed. And so that 12.5-inch barrel is going to be the way to do that. Another very, very cool thing about this gun is their ambi system. Right here is these little, this is patented for them. And this is their bolt lock and bolt release. Like, that's a built-in bad lever. So I love it, you know that. Very cool. Robinson Armament, local Utah company, making some badass guns. In the SCAR program, this thing should have won. But I won't get into that right now, but let's see how I have it set up. So this is a KGM R556 suppressor. I'm running the Modlite PLH V2 18350. I got a different color body on there. I got a Unity Axon button that I'm activating that light with, emissary development cable clip. Then this is an EOTech EXPS3, and it is a green dot. I like the red dots better. I think it's just that I'm used to red, so when I see green, it throws me for a second. But I prefer red, and that is on the Unity Fast Riser right here. And then EOTech G33 3X magnifier on the Unity flip to center mount, and then a tail hook pistol brace on Robinson's extension here. 7.5-inch barrel, you're gonna be getting like 2,400 feet per second, like 150 yards effective range. That is the 7.5-inch XCRL. Okay, last gun, and this guy is a little itty bitty boy. So this is the Sig MCX Rattler, and it's got a 5.5-inch barrel. I did get this originally in 5.56, but made more sense to me to swap out and do a barrel conversion. It is now 300 blackout, so technically it doesn't quite fall in line with all the other guns I've shown today, but I just did want to demonstrate how small you can get. Especially, this is a piston gun, so it folds up into a teeny little package even when suppressed. Very cool. Let's go through how I have it set up. So this can up here, this is a Thunder Beast Arms Ultra 5 30 cal, and got a Surefire Scout Light with the SR07 pressure pad. This is the Hollow Sun AEMS, and that is on Unity's AEMS mount. And then SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace, and this is from Sig. This is their basically a buffer tube that mounts 1913 pick rail. And then I do have that MHS hand stop from Regular Defense. And this gun is very cool, very small, and now in 300 blackout, it's quiet. Because I'll tell you, 5.56 in a 5.5-inch barrel is obnoxiously loud. It rattles your teeth loud. So this is much more pleasant to shoot, but 300 blackout doesn't, I'm not gonna go through the ballistics on it because it just doesn't even match up with everything we've been talking about. But this is the Sig MCX Rattler in 5.5-inch. Okay, so those are different guns demonstrating different barrel lengths, mostly AR-15 platform, and the ballistics that correspond with that. And someone like me, like I said, I like the 12.5 to 10.3, just mainly for the type of shooting I'm doing. But I also love taking out that 18-inch Noveske and trying to shoot longer distance. I don't claim to be any great long distance shooter, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. I get so charged up just building these guns out, setting them up, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. And I think they're hopefully, even if you're very familiar with barrel lengths, I hope it was at least cool to see some different guns to demonstrate those lengths. Best case, you weren't familiar and found some information out that maybe you didn't know already. Anyways, please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm Jeff for the Weapon Collective, reminding you to keep your weapons collected and keep collecting your weapons. I'll catch you next time.